Well, hello and welcome. My name's Mandy and my channel is Mandy Sorts It Out. And today I'm going to talk to you about a few things I've sorted out recently. I'm going to talk to you about some books I've been reading. And I'm going to show you a shop I did at Lidl the other day. Now, I'm still full of cold. I'm not as full as I was, but I can't quite shed it. And I imagine that's down to having kidney disease, because you do have reduced immunity with kidney disease, so I'm presuming that's why the cold is hanging around so long. Looking back over the last few years, every time I've had a cold, it's really lingered. So I think that's just what I need to expect these days. But being at home poorly, not feeling like doing much, does mean I've had a lot of time to read. And I thought I'd go through some of the books I've read recently. This one's called If I Fall, If I Die by Michael Christie. It's a really unusual book. I've never read anything quite like it. It's about a boy who grows up with his mother who's got agoraphobia, so he doesn't go outside, and his whole world is inside with his mum. I've never read The Room, but it did make me think, well, it's a bit like The Room, but for a different reason, thank goodness. I wouldn't want to read about the sort of abuse that was at the centre of The Room. And he starts going outside, and it's about his life after he starts going outside. Really interesting book. I did forget that this boy is about 12, and when it was mentioned again at the end, I was really taken aback because I thought he was about 15. Really good book, really enjoyed it. Then this book called Drift by Carol Lewis, which is a kind of fairy tale, really. It's a kind of fairy tale mixed with a tale about a migrant and an immigrant to the UK who has been captured and is in captivity. Well, I'm not going to say anything more. It'll just spoil it. But it's a short read, but it's a really, really enthralling, interesting read. And then I read this book called The Feast by Margaret Kennedy. Now, Margaret Kennedy was a writer in the 1920s to 1950s, and this is one of her later books. It's about people staying in a hotel in Cornwall. The hotel was a family home, but the family came on hard times, so it's been turned into a hotel, and people are staying there. It's sheltered under a cliff, and you're told at the beginning that the cliff collapses and people die, but that there are survivors. So you don't know which of the people you're reading about survive and which don't. But there are, I think there's 23 people in the hotel, including staff, and you get to know them all. All the owners, the staff. No, not all the staff, actually. One of the staff you don't get to know much about at all. Oh, it's a really interesting book. I'd heard she was a contemporary of Jane Austen, and they're not a detective story, but there's a similar sort of feel to them. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I would recommend. And then I read Joanne Harris, The Strawberry Thief. This is a follow-on to the book Chocolat, and I've read the book Chocolat and watched the film, and I did enjoy it, so I thought I'd read this. Now, I don't know, it's a long time ago since I read Chocolat, and I don't know if this is a similar sort of book, because I didn't remember that book being like this book, but I think my memories were taken over by the film. This book is quite magic realism, and I don't remember Chocolat being like that. I remember there being suggestions of the family thinking that they were in some way magical in the first book, but in this book it is more into a strange world than the world that we live in as we know it. And if there was a third one, I don't think I'd read it, put it that way, although I fairly enjoyed it. And I've started this book. It's called The Glass Room by Simon Mauer, It was a shortlist for the Man Booker Prize in 2009, and it seems to be about a architect built building in Czechoslovakia and what happened to it over the years. The conception of this house was in 1928, so it's from 1928, and I think it goes into the 60s, because I think it's talking about 30 years later when I've just started reading the beginning of the book. So, not really sure what it's about. I don't know if it sticks with the room or if it sticks with the family or if it sticks with both. But the family get taken away from the home gets taken away from the family. Oh, my hair looks awful. So, yeah, I don't know which the book follows, but that's what I'm reading at the moment. So, what have I managed to organise lately? Well, I'll start with my rent. In the middle of January, I was told that my landlord wanted to raise my rent by 10%, and I was given a Schedule 13 notice and told I had till the 7th of March to either negotiate with the landlord or to take the services of a free tribunal who would decide what the rent should be. I did think 10% was too high. This flat is a lovely flat. I love it. I love it where it's located. I love the parking. I love the space in the flat. But it does have downsides. There is absolutely no storage. Well, there's like a half cupboard. It's got the boiler in it. Not a boiler, immersion heater in it. And there's a little bit of space under the immersion heater. And that's the only cupboard other than the kitchen cupboards, which are full. There's no fitted wardrobes, no sort of fitted units in the bathroom. You know, a lot of my stuff is out in the lounge because there isn't anywhere to put it. And it's not in the best repair, especially in the kitchen. I don't know if you've noticed in any of my videos, but there's a place where the worktop in the kitchen is worn through to the chipboard, and the wrap on the kitchen units, particularly the top ones, is lifting off. It's there's air bubbles and gaps, and some of it is the wrap is torn and broken at the edges, so it's not in the top-notch condition, and the rent he was proposing seemed to be top-notch. The other thing was I looked at the Schedule 13 and I went on the Shelter website and other websites of people explaining what the method is to increase rent in the UK, and found out all about Schedule 13 notices. And one of the things was that they can be invalid, and if they're not filled out correctly, they're invalid. And one of the things was that the date that's on them has to be the date that is the anniversary of you paying rent. For instance, my lease started on the 7th, so I have to pay my rent on the 7th, and this notice talked about it going up on the 6th. So I was like, I think that's wrong. So I sent a message back to the lettings agent. I think the Schedule 13 notice is incorrect because it has this date of the 6th of March on it. Also, I don't mind going to the tribunal for them to fix a rental price. I think the increase suggested is too high because it would be a top-notch rent then, and this is not a top-notch flat. It's a nice flat, but it's old and worn in places. Anyway, the landlord came back and said that he would recommend a new rent, and he was willing to take £7.20. So that's £25, an increase of £25 rather than an increase of £70. And I thought that was probably fair. That was okay. I mean, obviously I'd like to pay less. I would have hoped for 710. They said it wouldn't apply till the 7th of April because they had to reissue a Schedule 13 notice. So that's all to say that my rent's now been agreed that it will go up to £720 a month from the 7th of April. And I'm quite happy with that. So that's done. And that was a real stress, actually, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what the rules were. I didn't know what I had to look out for. But the Shelter website was very good. Also, there was another website. I think Citizens Advice has got some information as well. The government website's got information on Schedule 13 notices. It took ages reading to find that. But anyway, I got there in the end, found out everything I needed to know, and it got done. It was a big relief, and I don't have to think about it for a year now, if I'm still here in a year's time, which I may or may not be, we don't know. So, what else have I been sorting? Well, I went and got weighed the other day, and I was feeling like I might have lost a little bit of weight, and it was 3.5 weeks since I last got weighed. So I went and got weighed, and I'd lost £2. And I was a little disappointed, actually, because I thought with this cold, I'd not been eating very much, and I thought I bound to have lost more than £2. But then when I thought about it, that 3.5 weeks included a few weeks where I was still struggling with the death of my mum and overeating as a consequence of that. And it included when my son was here, when I was putting more food on than I would normally have around. So actually, after thinking about it a bit, I thought, yes, actually, I'm quite pleased about that £2. So that's good. I'm hoping that this is the start of a nice steady decline in my weight all this year. And that's my intention. Right, the next thing I want to talk about is my electric bill. I was very concerned that I wouldn't have enough money to keep myself warm all year. But I was very lucky in that a couple of times when I went to help out with family down in Wales, it got really cold here. So I managed to avoid having to spend extra on heating my house because I was in a house that was already heated down in Wales. Yeah, of course, in December, I wasn't here a lot either. January, I was here the whole month. So I thought, right, it's going to be my biggest month, really. And it has been my biggest month. It cost £111.95 for my electric in January. I had my heating on every single day. So that leaves me with £50.96 credit. And my standing order is £45.81, which means if my next bill is over £96, then I will be going into a debit and I'll be owing the electric company money. But as it happens, I've turned the heating off. And I turned the heating off because I was getting really hot. It's not really cold at the moment, it's just slightly cold. So I've decided to stick with that. I'm going down to dog sit for a family for a few days, so I will be not needing to heat this place here again while I'm away. When I come back, I'll just see what the temperature's like. But if it's around this level, I won't be putting the heating back on. I'll just be leaving it as it is. I think maybe the flat below, the flat above, the flat to the left, the flat to the right have all got their heating on, and I'm benefiting from that for a bit. Last year, there wasn't anybody in the flat underneath, but this year there is people underneath. So that does make a difference. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is my water bill. I get my invoices for my water every 6 months. Last time I got a bill, it said I had £1.90 in credit, and I remember, if you were watching then, you might remember that I said I was a bit concerned because I hadn't been at home a lot. A family member had needed me. I'd been away from home a lot, and I thought that meant that had I been home, I would have not managed to use my water within the amounts I was paying by standing order, and that I probably needed to up my standing order a bit. But what I would do instead was I'd put £21 aside, and at the end of the year, if I needed the £21, then that could pay off that amount from my water bill. So I had my next water bill, very interested in it, and sure enough, this was showing a debit, but only of £7.68, but then with my mum not being well, again, I wasn't at home for a chunk of time. And I thought, well, obviously my standing order needs to increase. And I could read that it said on the invoice, we have changed your payments to make sure the right amount is being collected to cover your usage. And I was like, great, they've already updated and increased my standing order. No, they've decreased it. I don't understand. It's gone from £18.31 a month to £18.24 a month. So it's gone down by 7p. Now, if there was £1.90 credit at the end of the last 6 months, and it's £7.68 in debit now, that's £9.48 shortfall that my standing orders didn't cover, which is about 80p a month, I think, something like that. And they've reduced my standing order by 7p instead of increasing it by 80p. Maybe the thing to do is to just keep the money aside that I need to keep to actually cover the water bill. You know, say to myself, I know it's going to be say £19.50 to be on the safe side. I know my water cost is going to be £19.50. If I allow £19.50, then I'll have an amount put aside ready if they say, oh, you're now £20 in debit for your water, you need to pay us. I'll be like, here you go, I've got it. So I think I'm probably just going to do that. But it doesn't make any sense to me at all for them to say you were in credit, you're now in debit, your standing order isn't covering your usage, so we're going to reduce it. There's something not going right here. So here is a video of my last shop at Lidl. I meant to do quite a small shop. I only went in for some honey, and then I thought, well, I'll pick up some veg while I'm here. And then I went to go to the tills, and they were absolutely mobbed. And I thought, well, I'll just have a little wander around and look at things until the queues go down a bit. And I kept seeing things that I realised I needed. Oh yeah, I'm low on that. Oh yeah, I'm low on that too. And he ended up buying quite a lot. In fact, so much so that I had real trouble getting it to the car because I had only taken one bag in with me because I only expected to get 2 jars of honey and maybe some vegetables. Anyway, here's the video. Absolute disaster. I've broken the part of my tripod that holds my phone. Just snapped off after many years of loyal service. So yeah, I'm gonna have to find something else. That part would work, but let me just see if I can get that part to work today. Well, it might be useful for something, but not for this job. Anyway, I have done a shop at Lidl, so let's go through what I bought. I did not mean to buy all this stuff, but I didn't really make a list, so I've only got myself to blame. And there were things I needed, obviously. So let's start off with the toilet paper. That was £2.29, and it's supposed to be 6 jumbo rolls. I noticed the other day that I was going low on shower gel, and I like to get shower gel that's not tested on humans. Both of these say that they're vegan. This is vegan like that, and that one says different kind of vegan. But my understanding is that if it says vegan, it's not tested on animals. So yeah, I got those too. The Body Shop type one was a little bit more expensive. This mandarin and lemongrass one was 99p, and this was £1.99. The Dizzy Rose. I'm still full of cold. I add sunflower seeds and linseed to my bread currently, but this has also got pumpkin seeds and hemp seeds in it. So I thought, yeah, I'll buy that for when I next make bread. Also, I bought some more fast-acting yeast. The seed mix has come in at 99p because I had a coupon for it, and the yeast has come in at, where's that, 64p because I had a coupon for it. I decided to buy more of their honey because I like the size of the jars. So when I make marmalade next time, if you know, which is going to be in ages, these jars fit my funnel better. Now, I know it's a strange thing to buy your jars according to your funnel, but I mean, I'd be buying the jar anyway because I'd be buying honey anyway. This honey is slightly bigger than the cheap honey you get in Asda, but it's the same price per 100 gram. So this is 22p per 100 gram. And so is the smaller jars, the 74p jars of honey. So I don't mind getting these bigger jars. They last a little bit longer anyway. I got two, and they were 99p each. I was also very tempted by the plum jam. That was 35p off, and so that was £1.50. And again, it's another wide neck jar, so that'll be handy for when I eventually make any jams or marmalade or anything. And I know that I've only got one deodorant, and normally I have one and one in my travel bag. They're the same price as Aldi, which is £1.09. Although I've said I won't get this soya milk anymore because it's quite weak, I did get it because I was there and I needed soya milk and I couldn't be bothered to go to another shop. So that was 85p, and I just bought the one to keep me going until I can get somewhere and get a creamier one. I also bought their cheapest chips rice pudding. That's 35p. Very nice. I might have that for breakfast. They had asparagus tips cheap, and I do like them as a bit of a treat now and again. So I bought those. They were, oh my goodness, how much were they? Because there was a 16p price cut, and I also got money off with Lidl Plus. So that's 36p off. That's 36p off £1.75. 39, £1.39. That makes them £1.39. Oh my god, maths with the cold. Not good at all. I bought some carrots because I've still got some cabbage left. It's getting a bit old and I want to eat it, and I thought I quite fancy a bit of coleslaw. So got some carrots in. They were 69p. I got a bunch of 5 bananas, and then I ate one in the car because I hadn't actually had any breakfast. They were 81p. I like growing cress and having it on salads in the summer. I was thinking about this the other day, so when I saw the cress seeds, I thought, yes, I will get those. They were £1.49. Apparently they're premium, but doesn't feel like a massive amount in there. But I will grow some cress and have that on some salad. They had a bag of pink onions. I don't think I've ever had pink onions before. They are very pink. They're not purple like the red ones, red onions. They are lighter, and they were on special, 69p. Yeah, 69p for a bag. The others are 99p for a bag. So well, that was a good buy. Then I bought one red pepper, but it's the biggest red pepper I've ever seen in my life. It was 70p. Some slight damage that can be cut off, but that's a lot of red pepper for the money. And then I needed apples, and I saw this bag of apples, which were £1.99. It says they're extra crunchy. I'm hoping they're not the kind of apples that dry your mouth out as you eat them, like some Cox apples can do. I've never heard of Rubisco before, but I thought I'd give them a punt. The only other thing I bought was another bag of wholemeal wheat flour. Yeah, reduced by 20p. It should have been £1.19, so that was 99p. I don't actually need any. I've got a full bag in the cupboard, but as it was a good price, I thought I'd get it. It's July 26th, so we should be all right. Now I'm back to making bread again. So that's my shop at Lidl, and it cost me in total £22.50. I've split the cost of that little shop so that £7.45 goes against my toiletries and cleaning budget for the shower gel and the toilet paper and the deodorant, both of which are on the receipt, and £15 and 5p goes on my food spending budget. So thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. I hope life is going well for you, And I hope you enjoyed watching my video, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.